Hello, it's Tom from Lone Horizons, and welcome to a bit of a different video today. There's going to be a lot of umming and ahhing in this video, I'm afraid. There's the first one, see, because it's totally unscripted. Well, they all are really, but I'm not going to be playing a solo RPG or anything. I thought I would just kind of take an opportunity to do a sort of spring cleaning, new year, very late new year channel update about Lone Horizons and what I kind of want to do with it this year, as in like the YouTube channel and also the blog, because there is a blog which some of you may not know about. I started it a couple of years ago. I don't know when the first blog post was. I can't be bothered to scroll all the way back. I've got it on my screen here. It's lonehorizons.blogspot.com. There's a link to it in the description of every video that I make. And yeah, I started posting playthroughs on there ages ago, and then started on YouTube as well. And I've carried on with the blog as well. I think the reason I'm mentioning the blog is because a year ago, well, in January 2024, I posted an update post on there, called something like New Year Update, what I want to do in 2024. And I was looking through it today, and I've done almost nothing out of the different things that I wanted to try out, like the different game systems that I wanted to try out solo. So I thought maybe do the same for the YouTube channel, but this time with more people commenting and interacting with the YouTube videos than there are for the blog. Maybe it'll kind of encourage me to get on with it and do the things I say I'm going to do. So if I show you this, this is a massive pile of RPGs. Basically, I've got a folder on my hard drive of digital PDFs of RPG rulebooks, and that is like I don't know, I think there's like 88 of them in there now or something. Most of them are ones that I've got for free, legally for free, or very cheaply, or in bundles, like charity bundles, where I've got way more than I need, and I've just downloaded, even just downloading the ones that I think I will play. I still have way more than I'll ever play. So there's Death in Space right at the top. I thought I'll go through them in sort of I'll pick out the ones I want to talk about first and go through them that way, so it's not totally random. Well, firstly, before we get to Death in Space, sorry, these are very heavy. Dungeon Crawl Classics is obviously the main series that I've been making for the YouTube channel, and I'm really enjoying that. The Mega Dungeon, the mini Mega Dungeon Dyson's Delve, made by Dyson of Dyson's Maps, and it's been really fun. I'm not planning on slowing down on that. I mean, it is going slowly. It's been a year, and we're only on level 2 out of something like 11 or 13 floors of the dungeon. So yeah, maybe in 10 years I'll finish it. Who knows? But that's fun. I'm really enjoying that. And we sort of expanded it a bit a while ago by incorporating, recruiting new level 0 peasants to our sort of adventurers guild and sending them out on kind of side missions to level them up to level 1. By doing a bit of hex crawling and exploring the local area, fighting monsters in lairs and clearing them out and stuff like that. And that's something that I'm going to carry on with, because I think in the next time they go back to town, there will only be a couple of days left until it's been a week, and they can recruit more peasants and level them up as well, or send out the original ones on side missions as well. So we'll definitely be getting on with that. I've just filmed a new episode of it, which I think is episode 29. I think it's episode 29, and it's not online yet. I'm going to put this video online first because it takes a while to edit it. I'm usually getting over a cold and cough that I've caught from my baby daughter. My voice doesn't normally sound like this. That's what's happened to me now as well. So I have to edit out a lot of coughing and sneezing and hacking up bodily fluids from within me. Look at that. That's an interesting picture there. Right magic spell. Interesting. Okay. So Dungeon Crawl Classics, very fun. There's also a funnel adventure that I played through on the blog, if you want to have a look at that, quite recently. And you can see how well that turned out for that group of peasants. No spoilers. And fun fact about this book, it's so massive and heavy that a while ago my 1-year-old daughter pulled it off the bookshelf and then got her leg trapped underneath it and she couldn't move it off. She wasn't hurt or anything, she was just very annoyed. But that's how chunky this book is. Okay, I don't have anywhere to put this, so I'll just chuck these on the floor after I've finished with each one. And then Death in Space, right? This is what I've been just playing through in the last few days and posting on my blog. This is a really nice game. It's by those Swedish people, Stockholm Cartel and Free League. I don't know if Free League are Swedish or what, but I know Stockholm Cartel is. And I think it gets kind of overlooked because Mothership came out, and Mothership to me seems like the Shadow Dark of sci-fi games, because it just completely took the whole internet by storm, and it seemed like anyone interested in sci-fi RPGs has been playing Mothership for ages. And I never got Mothership because I was given this as a birthday present, as a surprise, which was really nice. And I have this fear of FOMO, like fear of missing out. So I don't want to just splurge money on the latest big game that comes out or the latest popular one, even if they're really good, like Shadow Dark and Mothership, which I haven't played Mothership, but I've read and watched videos of it, and it does seem really good. But this is kind of similar, but with not as much emphasis on horror. This is like the universe is all contracting far in the future, and everything is kind of crunching together. Electronics don't work properly anymore. There's been a big war over a technology, over a natural resource that these gems that were used to kind of enhance our technology. And so now everything's breaking down and the gems have almost run out, and everyone's trying to repair spaceships rather than build new ones. And it's really nice, and it's all the setting of it is the Iron Ring, which is a huge space station cobbled together out of ruins of other space stations and ships and satellites and things that orbits the moon of a gas giant in a faraway solar system. And it's quite rules light. And I'm playing it on the blog using Mythic GM Emulator 2nd edition, which I haven't got the physical book of, so I don't have it in this pile here, but I've got the PDF, and I've printed out certain pages from it, and I use it that way. That's a little tip for you. If you've got the PDF of Mythic GME, you can print out the fate chart, which is what you roll on when you ask the oracle questions. You can print out the random event focus table for when you get a random event, which is when you roll a double on the fate chart. And then all these other useful tables that you're going to be using all the time. I wanted to have them physical in front of me so that I didn't have to be at my PC to play it, although I do have an iPad that I've got the book on as well, so I can use that. And then there's loads of oracle tables for words in it as well, which is really good. But yeah, I'm enjoying Death in Space. it's a very different game to other ones that I've played because you're really weak. All the characters start off really, really weak. I mean, that's true of like Dungeon Crawl Classics, but you don't level up. I mean, you get to increase abilities and things like that. There is character advancement, but it happens quite slowly and gradually. And so you like, not many characters will start off with a weapon even. So combat isn't really an option in it most of the time. And even in spaceships, when there are spaceship battles in it, they very rarely end with one blowing up the other one, because no one wants to destroy any technology at all, simply because it's impossible to replace. So the weapons that ships have are things like grappling hooks that pull the other ship towards you, so that then you can board them and fight the crew on the ship. But yeah, if you want to look at that on my blog, I've done like 3 sessions of it so far, and it's going well, and I'm enjoying using Mythic GME because I haven't really used it that much, and when I have used it, I've only used bits of it and not used the full system with the random events and threads, which are like kind of like quest lines and things like that, and characters that can pop up, recurring characters and things like that. There's a lot of really good stuff in it. So that is Death in Space, and you can read up on that, on how it's going on my blog. So I won't like tell you the story so far for my campaign, because that's all on the blog anyway. And I want to kind of show you some other things. This is a folder which I just started recently, because if I show you actually, look, this is not very organized and it's very clunky. This is my Dungeon Crawl Classics folder, and it's just basically all of the character sheets and the Mega Dungeon maps and things, and the time tracker and stuff like that, and the spell books. Everything that I use for the Dungeon Crawl Classics series is in there. And my goal, when I finally get around to it sometime soon, is to get one of these tabs, write DCC on it, and just hole punch all of this stuff and put it all into here, because I think that would be much more manageable. And the same with, like, this is Scarlet Heroes, so that is the map of the dungeon from the Dungeon Adventures tutorial video that I did the other day. There's the hex crawl map, quick reference sheet, the character sheets, and then there's the other stuff, like stuff that I use with Dungeon Crawl Classics sometimes. So like, that is a dungeon encounter table printed out from the Old School Essentials rulebook. This is from Osric, which is free online. That is an OSR game, and that has a dungeon generator at the back, which is really useful for solo role-playing, obviously, because you can explore a dungeon that is generated as you go. And I was actually playing through a mega dungeon, what's going to be a mega dungeon. It hardly exists yet, because I'm creating it on the fly with that. And that is really fun. But anyway, yeah, that will have its own tab in there. This has my basic fantasy character, who this is the only group campaign that I'm playing in at the moment, and for the foreseeable future, that I will have time to play in, I think. This is with Stone Axe Tabletop Gaming's Paul. That is a YouTube channel, by the way. He runs that YouTube channel, and he is our GM for this campaign, and it's been really, really fun. I've got my cleric character Arthur up to level 4, so he's the highest RPG character I've ever had. He worships Murthak, god of commerce, and I'm having a really, really good time in that campaign with a group. Really nice people I'm playing with. And then, yeah, this is so Hostile, right? This is going to be a very kind of video that goes all over the place. So I hope you enjoy it and it's actually useful for something. Hostile is from Zoza Games, who recently did Cepheus Universal, which is like a massive sci-fi RPG. But Hostile is based on kind of 70s and 80s retro futuristic sci-fi settings, like the world of Alien and Aliens. What other ones? Things like that's like the main thing I can think of. I was going to say The Thing, but The Thing is actually set on Earth in the 20th century, and it's not really that kind of sci-fi. It is body horror though. But basically, sci-fi settings where they have tape cassettes and computers that have reel-to-reel tape recorder things on them, and everything is all dirty and grimy. There are space truckers who are bored out of their minds doing boring delivery jobs and things, and then they get attacked by horrific otherworldly aliens. So that's Hostile, and I started. This is a bit of a lesson for you, right? If you're a solo role player. Last year, I started a Hostile solo campaign based on Alien, the film. So look, this is Thomas Kane, famous. If you haven't seen Alien, firstly, what's wrong with you? And secondly, I won't spoil it by talking about what happens to Kane. Well, he could be married with kids by the end of the film. You don't know. I haven't said anything bad. I made all the characters, right? There's Arthur Dallas, the captain, and I gave them all skills based on the things that they do in the film. And so, like, Kane has inquisitive, because when they're exploring the alien wreck, he is the one that like volunteers to go down into it first. Joker, he does joke around in the scenes with the other crew. He's sociable. Everyone seems to like him, but he's also clumsy because he falls over. He slips and falls into a kind of pit on the alien ship and stuff. Basically, I watched the film and then I made these characters based on that. Well, I rewatched it. I'd seen it before as well. Joan Lambert, sociable, prone to stress, and cowardly. I put based on what she does in the film. And it took ages, right, to do all the character creation, because there's a lot of characters actually. There's Ripley, yeah, it's a lot of character creation. And then when I started playing through it, using, what did I use? I can't remember if I used Mythic emulator for this as well. I don't think I did. I think I basically kind of used like a D6 Oracle that I just made up myself, and I did things based on what characters would be likely to do and random chance and stuff like that. But I didn't get very far in it because as I was writing it up on the blog, right, I was just telling the story of Alien again. And at each time the characters had to make a decision, I got to the point up until what happens on the alien derelict, right, which you will know if you've seen the film. And I don't know why I'm being so careful about not spoiling a 40-year-old film. It's like, at what point do spoilers not matter anymore? Like, is it a spoiler to say that Julius Caesar dies at the end of the play Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare, which was written 500 years ago or something? Like, is that a spoiler? You've had 500 years to catch up with it. I don't know. But anyway, every time I got to a decision point where a character had to make a decision, I thought, well, they're going to do what they did in the film, because the only variable is their character and personality. So I had them do the same thing that they do. So, like, when they come back to try and get on board the ship, and Ripley won't let them on, saying that they can't allow a contamination back on board the ship based on like the company regulations and stuff. Yeah, she did that because that's her personality. And then Ash obviously wanted it on board for his own reasons, and so Ash did that because he would. And I realized I was just basically typing out the story of Alien on my blog, and I sort of I didn't feel like playing it anymore after that, even though like I hadn't really got that far. You can read what happened up to that point on the blog. I think that's as far as I got. Basically, they were coming back to the ship after exploring the alien derelict, and things went very similar to how they go in the film. And I just, I think I stopped there. I think what I'll do, right, is instead of doing it on the blog and writing out every single decision that was made on there, I think I will just play through it myself, making really brief bullet point notes, like I'm just do it for fun for myself, and then do one final blog post probably in a couple of months after I've got round to doing that, where I just detail what happened and how it went differently to the film. Because I was planning on doing things like making at the end of every scene, doing a die roll to see if the alien pops out and grabs someone, that kind of thing, so that it was more, so that it was sort of, it would feel random, it would be random like it was in the film. They didn't know when the alien was going to get them, so I wouldn't just replay exactly every single scene. Like the alien will grab Brett when he's in that room with chains hanging down and water dripping, and he takes off his cap and gets grabbed. Then it might not happen then, so I will randomize it quite a bit. But that's sort of a warning to you. If you sort of document your gameplay online in some way, you might just end up feeling, if you're doing something like recreating a film in an RPG, you might just end up feeling like you're just typing out a story that's already been told. And then I think these are some other sci-fi solo RPG records. That is a blank character sheet character creation worksheet for Cepheus Deluxe, which is, it's right at the bottom of the pile. Oh no, everything's falling down. Okay, hang on. Right. Okay, yeah, that's Cepheus Deluxe. It's really good. It's I don't know if I've mentioned it in another video, but I've got a campaign that is stalled, but not because of boredom or anything. There is very variable artwork in this. I don't think that illustration is that good, to be honest. Sorry, whoever that artist is, but I just don't like it. And then there are totally different ones in here as well. But this is based on the first edition of Traveller that Mongoose Publishing published. The reason is that was using Traveller up to that point, including that one, used the open gaming license that D&D uses. And then for the second edition of Mongoose Traveller, which is the current edition, they stopped using the OGL, and so people couldn't make their own games like Cepheus after that based on it. So this is based on the first edition by Mongoose of Traveller, and it's really good. I've got a campaign on my blog where I'm playing as a bounty hunter, and he's just got his ship on there. He was like, I don't know what you call it, planet bound or something. He was restricted to one planet to begin with because he didn't have a ship, but he's just gained access to a ship. That was in like July last year, which was the last time I actually played it. But it just because I haven't played it for months and months doesn't mean I'm not going to go back to it. It is a really good game, and it's very crunchy. If you like simulation and stuff like that, it's like really good. Things like a spaceship firing at another spaceship and hitting a certain part of it where a crew member is working, and that character gets injured by the explosion, plus that place they were working in gets destroyed or partially destroyed, and that affects the rest of the fight, things like that. So it takes a while to run the combat in it, but it is really good. So what's another one we've got here? Oh, this is a useful book on downtime and domains. I think I showed this before in the Dungeon Crawl Classics series quite a long time ago. It's basically just we haven't used it yet, but it's basically just like got a load of different stuff about what player characters can do on their downtime in games like old what I don't know what just happened to me. Old school D&D, OSR games. There's a D&D 5th edition version of this book as well, if you play that and you want to get it. But you can see it's got things like activities and labor, orgies. That's interesting. Why do I keep running into orgies in my videos just recently after that last Scarlet Heroes video? This is really strange. Okay, philanthropy, drinking / orgies. Like, why? What is going on? Is this by Kevin? What's his name? Uncle Kev Crawford. It's not, is it? It's by Courtney C. Campbell. Okay. All right. Sacrifice, rumors, healing, relaxation, rodomontade. I don't know what that is, but I'm not going to look it up in case it's something rude. Preparing and scouting, learning talents, skills, training a skill or weapon mastery, professional income, loads of stuff like that. Collecting an arcane library if you're a wizard, scribing a scroll or brewing a potion, researching spells and new spells, quests, arena fights, assassination. There's like all this stuff, and then there's things like like markets, locating a buyer and haggling. So this is like if you loot something really valuable or magical from the dungeon and you want to sell it, it doesn't make sense to just go to the local village market and sell it to some peasant merchant who would not have thousands of gold pieces on hand to buy stuff like that from you. So it's stuff like that. It's got things about henchmen and hirelings, and then stuff about building a stronghold and taking over regions of the map and stuff like that. So I thought, as my Dungeon Crawl Classics characters get like more powerful and richer, we might be able to use some things from this book in that campaign. So that's really interesting, and I've read quite a bit of this now, and it's really sounds really good. This is Across 1,000 Dead Worlds by friend of the channel Alex T from Black Oath Entertainment. This is a really nice book. I just love looking through it. All of the black and white artwork is so good. Let me just check if the light is sort of making a massive flare. It sort of is reflecting off there, but hopefully you can see it. If I hold it like this, maybe. But yeah, this is a solo RPG, specifically solo or co-op. And I won't go into loads of detail because loads of people have done videos on this now, and you can find a lot of actual plays of it on YouTube. But this is all about exploring the remains of a long dead alien civilization and looting it and bringing back loot and selling it. Look at that. I love that kind of like collage style of artwork. It's just really nice. I just love it so much. This I would like to do something with. I haven't actually played it yet. I've made my character. I've had this for ages. I got it, I think Christmas 2023. It was a Christmas present from my wife that I asked for. And I still haven't bloody played it because I just haven't got round to it. I think it's because it's got a lot of rules. I mean, to me, it seems like it has a lot of rules to learn, but maybe that doesn't matter. You just go through it and you learn it as you go, I suppose. But this is really nice. And this game is the reason that I haven't bought Ker Nathalis, one of his most recent games, because I thought that looks really good as well. It's a fantasy dungeon crawler. But I thought I can't justify buying that when I still haven't played this. So this is, I have to play this year. I just have to, because it just looks so good. I also got Starting Crew and Exploration Sites, which is an expansion for it, or just a kind of supplement, really. It's got some pre-generated characters that you can use and hire as your crew, which is nice. And then starting pre-generated exploration sites, because normally you would roll these up as you explore them, but here you've got some starting ones that are already made to make playing the game a bit quicker for you. So I'll make sure I use that as well. But yeah, that is definitely gonna see some use this year at some point. I don't know if I'll do a video. I might not, because there's already loads and loads of videos on it. I will probably do a blog post about it. So that's Across 1,000 Dead Worlds. Here is 5 Leagues from the Borderlands. I've also had this book for quite a while now. Solo and co-op adventure wargaming. So this is a skirmish battle game, right? It reminds me most from where I'm coming from is PC games and console games that I have played all my life, and I've only just recently, in the last few years, got back into RPGs, tabletop RPGs. But this reminds me of Battle Brothers, which is really hard, really hard PC game where I just get killed over and over again, and then I rage quit. But I'm planning on what I want to do with this, right? It's a miniatures game. So I bought some miniatures and paints. I bought paints by the Army Painter and miniatures from Midland Miniatures, which is a company here in the UK, which are really nice. Let me get them. This is how I'm protecting them from my daughter. Oh, so as you can see, I haven't got very far because, with about an hour of free time per evening, you have to choose what you're going to do. This is I hope this stays in focus here, but this is an earth elemental that one of my characters can summon. I have made my party, my warband already. I just haven't played it. Like with Across 1,000 Dead Worlds, I made the character but haven't played it yet. This is my main guy. I think he's like an impoverished nobleman who has left his family home and in search of adventure and starting a mercenary company. This was the free miniature that you got with the set of paints that I got from the Army Painter. This guy is called Gaius the Red, and he is a wizard. I just knew he was called Gaius the Red as soon as I saw the miniature, because I don't know why. That just was his name. This is an elven woman. I can't remember her name because I haven't looked at the character sheet for months. And she's going to be the ranged kind of ranger person of the group. And then this guy, oh look, this is bad. I need to clip off this bit on the end of his spear, which is a bit of metal that's poking out. This guy is a duskling. Oh, he needs a wash applied to him because he hasn't had that done yet. He's what's called a duskling, which is a kind of barbarian woodsman kind of guy. And then these ones are all unpainted as yet. I've primed them, but they are all bandits. Basically, they're a gang of bandits, and they are going to represent every type of enemy that I fight until I can buy some more miniatures. But there's no. I thought, let's not leave them out. I thought there's no point buying more of them until I've painted all the ones I've got. And then I will get some undead ones, and maybe some soldiers. There's a lot of human enemies in the game, and I was thinking there are a lot of kind of like foreign invading armies, and I was thinking maybe the Easterlings from the Lord of the Rings game might be quite good from Games Workshop. So I might get some of them and some undead monsters as well, but there's no orcs and goblins in 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, which is interesting. Maybe, I guess they just didn't want to be too generic. Yeah, so that's that. So I mentioned Uncle Kev Crawford earlier, and here he is again. This is an echo resounding Lordship and War in Untamed Lands. I think I showed this in the same video as on Downtime and Domains in the Dungeon Crawl Classics series, but this has some crossover with that other book actually. It's basically rules for domain play in an OSR game. It's originally written for Labyrinth Lord, but it can be used in any game really. Well, actually, the domain play rules could be used in not necessarily an OSR game, but like any other RPG, Savage Worlds or anything fantasy really. This is really intriguing to me. It's got advice on creating a regional map and the different settlements that are there, and then resources like mines for metals and coal or whatever, and then how factions fight each other with armies and capture those sites from each other, and then what your player characters can do in terms of being spies or going on special missions to assassinate someone in some leader of an army, and then collapse the army before the eve of battle and stuff like that. I mean, I think this is really nice, and I've read quite a bit of it, but I haven't basically got far enough in any campaign to be able to use it, which is interesting. It also has at the back of it the Westmark. Where is it? I think this is it. Yes, the Westmark, which is a basically like West March's campaign setting that you can use. So here's the hex map, and he generated it using the rules that he wrote in this book. That's interesting. There's a town called Jinan, which was the name of the village in our Scarlet Heroes series. So yeah, he's basically created this region for you to use in your games, and then it's got all the details of different locations and then plot seeds and stuff that you can use for making adventures up. So yeah, I really want to use this. I don't know when I'll get around to it, but that's definitely something I want to do. And then my most recent purchase, another 2 hefty books, Mithras and Mithras Classic Fantasy. So I don't know the whole history of this game, but I think it is an offshoot of the RuneQuest series of games. RuneQuest really makes me think it's like an MMO, an online MMO or something. Just sounds really like it would be, like World of Warcraft or something. I don't know why. But Mithras is a D100 based game system, although it does use other dice as well. And the setting of it is kind of like imagine the ancient Greek myths. Oh, look at that. That's bad. It's not very good. I got this from Amazon, so I think it's a book that's printed by Amazon as well, which probably probably means it's not that great quality. But it's so crunchy, which I love for solo playing, because when you don't have a whole group of players sitting around who all need to know the rules, and you're not GMing for people who expect you to know everything off by heart. No one expects that really, but expect you to be able to keep the game flowing and stuff. When it's just you playing on your own as a solo RPG player, it doesn't, like I've said before, it doesn't matter if you get sidetracked for 20 minutes reading a whole chapter of the rule book about some obscure skill that you're interested in or something. So yeah, I think it's classless, the original Mithras. But I basically got this because I wanted to try out the classic fantasy expansion for it. So the core rules are in here, and then everything different that they changed for classic fantasy is in here. And this has classes, and it's set in a sort of generic Western medieval fantasy world. And the magic is a bit more easy to understand as someone coming from OSR games than the magic systems in normal Mithras. It does have rules about miniatures combat, which normal Mithras doesn't. Basically, about 2 years ago, on my blog, I started a project which was to do a combat tournament in the world of Dark Sun, which I'm sure some of you know about, using the Mithras rules because the combat rules are so crunchy. And I did I did the first session of that, and then I never went back to it. I don't know why. I think I was sort of intimidated a bit by using the campaign setting of Dark Sun, when I had to read up on it, and I didn't know that much about it and stuff like that. And I think I'm going to do something on the blog with Mithras. I don't want to do a whole series of videos as a campaign, because it would be so much editing of me cutting out 20 minutes of reading a section of the rules in silence. I'd be generating like dozens and dozens of gigabytes of video per session. I just don't really want the hassle. It would take way longer to edit it than it would to play the actual sessions as well. Whereas with my blog, I think it would be a lot easier. So I think I'd like to try some kind of hex crawling adventure using some hex crawl rules from, say, Scarlet Heroes or something, and combining that with the classic fantasy rules for Mithras. And I also got these combat cards. I just went all out here. Look, Impale. That's a great one to start with. These are special moves that you can do during combat. Basically, something quite cool about Mithras combat is you can do these special attacks and things, right? And in some RPGs, to do a special move, you have to say, I'm going to do Impale. And then the GM is like, okay, roll for it, see if you can do it. And you roll, and then you don't get it. You don't meet the whatever requirement it is from the roll, and then it's like, oh no, you failed, sorry. And then you try again the next turn, and the same thing happens, you failed again. But in Mithras, is it Mithras or Mithras? Probably Mithras, isn't it? You do your attack roll, and then if you roll high enough in your attack roll, then you're allowed to do one of these special effects, they're called. And then you get to choose which one you want to do after you've already succeeded in the roll. So it's just a much nicer, like player-friendlier way of doing special attacks, which I've tried out the combat a couple of times recently, and it's really fun. Like choose location with that one, you choose where you hit them. Normally, everyone has body parts, and they all have hit points in each location of the body. And with choose location, you choose where you hit after you hit. So you could say the head and then do enough damage and you'll chop the head off, like what's happened to this guy here. And I thought these might just be quite fun to use, whether I'm showing them in a video of the combat or something, or just using them in my own free time myself when I'm playing. So that is gonna be appearing on the blog, and I can't really say when. Probably sometime in the summer I'll get round to that. This is like when you have a baby, it's just like you can't really make plans. You just do whatever you can in whatever free time you have. Okay, so that's Mithras. And one other thing that I've got here is Tunnel Goons. And now this I brought out, I put in the pile to remind myself that I would quite like to do a one-off video about Mythic GME, right? And specifically a sort of actual play video of a session on how to use it. Because I'm using it at the moment in Death in Space, and it's so good. And there's a lot of videos on YouTube about Mythic GM emulator where it's like a tutorial on how to use it, or they review it, do a review video and they page through it and they say, yeah, so you can do this and this, and this seems interesting, this would be fun to use, and blah, blah, blah. And they don't actually play with it. There are actual play series of it, but they don't always tell you which GM emulator they're going to use. Other YouTubers, and I kind of think it would be quite fun to take a really rules light game like Tunnel Goons, which we used in a previous video, and use that as the game system for a one-off session of like an hour long, where I basically start from scratch using Mythic GME to answer all my questions about the setting and the character and everything. And just start really basic, like we don't know anything about the character or the world they're in, and just see what happens, basically. And then I thought, if I use a really rules light game like this, it will mean we can play with one character and just be able to sort of get on with it and not be bogged down in the rules, and not have me looking things up in the Dungeon Crawl Classics rulebook, for example, something like that. I think that would be really good. So I might use Tunnel Goons again, or I might use Maze Rats by Ben Milton. That's his name. I might use Maze Rats because that is also a fun quick game that also has a lot of tables you can roll on for things as well, which are always useful when you're just starting from scratch as a solo player. So that is a video that I want to do coming up. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Like, do you want to see an actual play session using Mythic GME? Would that help you to use it yourself? Because it is quite difficult to get started with, I think, for me, and I think for most people it is as well, because you have to get into the mindset of asking it the right questions to get good, useful answers. Anyway, enough of that. This one here is called Neon Road, an 80s style solo game. It's a micro RPG from a series of micro RPGs by Noah Patterson. So this is a kind of, not post-apocalyptic, but kind of really rough. Oh no, it is post-apocalyptic. Look, it's 1985, but a very different 1985. In 1976, the Cold War turned hot as nuclear bombs fell from the sky on cities around the world. So it is post-apocalyptic. And this is a solo game. Oh, look, his suggested movie viewing, Chopping Mall. Yeah. and the Terminator, Planet of the Apes, RoboCop. Really nice. Toxic Avenger. This is a purely solo game, and it's basically a dungeon crawler, but instead of a dungeon, you are exploring a kind of sci-fi wilderness, really, urban wasteland, and you go out fighting mutants and things, and then come back to your... I think you have a little base where you rest, and yeah, it's really good. It's really cheap online. If you want to get it. But this, basically, I've picked this out because this is representing a whole sort of genre of, micro solo RPGs that I want to play more of. I'm going to try... I'm either going to try this on the channel or I'm going to try something like it, just so you know. This is Bold, the Book of Legends and Deeds. This is made by Zach Best, who made UNE, or UNE, the Universal NPC emulator that I have used. I'm trying to think when I used it. If I used it in a video, maybe I didn't use it in a video on the channel. I can't actually remember, but I've definitely used it, by myself in my playing, and I have used it in adventures I've posted on the blog. And sadly, I found out recently that Zach Best passed away a few years ago, which is a massive shame. But, you can still get his work online. This is on Drivethru RPG, might be on itch, but I'm not sure. But I've put this here because it goes with UNE, and also his GM emulator, which I can't remember the name of. But I don't know what it is. What is Bold? I wanted to just kind of investigate it really quickly in this video. The Book of Legends and Deeds, Bold, is a supplement for any pen and paper role-playing game to help facilitate the creation of stories and deeds for player characters. It can be used to generate rich character histories. It can be used to create on-the-fly encounters, and it also contains a way to get players more active in colouring the world and game. It's universal, doesn't depend on any rule set. I think it sounds interesting. I think you could create a backstory for your player character using this tool. You could probably even create a backstory for the bad guy of your campaign, even using this to flesh them out. That might be interesting. So I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but it sounds good. I think I should probably try and work it into a video series or something, or a blog post, because it just sounds really interesting. A way of, a bit like in Cepheus Deluxe and Traveller, they have a life path character creation system where you basically roll for your character's previous career before they became an adventurer. And famously, you can die in character creation in Cepheus Deluxe and older versions of Traveller. I think that's what Traveller is most famous for. So, so maybe if you wanted to incorporate kind of life path character creation into a game, you could use this to do it. And I'd like to try and do that at some point this year. This, I don't really know why I've included this. This is Coiled Space. And this is the first RPG, solo RPG that I played. I don't know why it was this one. I think I just discovered it online and thought it sounded interesting. And I bought a set of dice to play it with. Here's the game loop. Yeah, but this is really interesting. It's basically quite funny. It involves using a website that randomly generates events for you, which is interesting. So you have that open while you're playing. But and I think the guy who made it, who designed this, I don't even know. It doesn't even say anywhere. Who is this guy? I know it's a guy because I talked to him on Twitter ages ago, and I asked him a question. I asked him to clarify one of the rules that was a bit vague, and he replied and explained it really well. But this is like, it's the far, far future, and it's like you're in a spaceship on your own, and you're going out gathering resources to bring back to your corporation that you work for, because like there's almost no energy left in the universe or something. It's a bit like Death in Space, except it's not contracting. Everything is sort of spinning out of control, I think, turning into dark matter or something, and you're trying to hold back the tide basically for the company that you work for. And it's got loads of really weird sort of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy type funny things that happen in it. Oh, a fly just flew across my desk. Get out of my shot. But that was really fun, and I played it for quite a while, and I've still got somewhere a really little notebook with all my bullet point notes that I made while I was playing that. Again, near the start of my solo RPG career. This isn't really an RPG. This is one of the ones I bound with thread. But this is Delve by Anna Blackwell, which is a solo map drawing game. It's basically like Dwarf Fortress, the PC game, which is amazing. And it needs a deck of cards. I think it uses dice. I can't remember. But you basically, you have like a little team of dwarves, and you build your dwarf stronghold underground or in a mountain or something, and you draw it on paper as you go, and you keep digging, and then you uncover caverns with monsters in them and gold that you get, and it's really fun actually. I think there are videos of this on YouTube already. I'm probably not going to do a video of it, but I just wanted to show it as one of the first games that I ever got into about 3 years ago. There's this similar one by Anna Blackwell called Umbra, which is pretty much the sci-fi version of Delve, and I haven't actually played that yet. So I think when I feel like coming back to the world of Delve and map drawing games, I'll try out Umbra, where you create a base on an alien planet, I think, and you add bits onto it, and you fight alien monsters and things like that. But that is, really interesting as well. And then the only other thing I've got to talk about was I thought it might be quite fun to show all the notes from Ironsworn, which was, again, right back at the start. I wish I'd put the date that I was playing this, because I'd like to know. It was during like the pandemic. That's when a lot of people got into solo RPGs, actually, isn't it? But this was how I made notes before I had a blog. So let's see what happened at the start. Ironsworn, Delcash Elkin, Session 1. Delcash is in Wyvern's Rest searching for Edon, an itinerant farm worker who killed Melian, a resident of the village. Oh, yeah, I think this isn't exactly the very start. I think I wasn't making any notes or something to begin with. This is interesting. Let's go. So let's see. I think this might not be the very start of the campaign. Like maybe I wasn't making any notes, or I just made them on scraps of paper or something, and then they blew away in the wind. Anyway, let's see. Like undertake a journey. Undertake a journey. That move. Wits +3, bond +1, strong hit. Delcash passes an isolated river in the plains. Then undertake another journey, wits +3, strong hit. He passes more plains. Undertake a journey, miss. At a remote river ford, 2 raiders block the way, seemingly there to rob travellers. So he does secure an advantage with using shadow, which is +1 bonus, strong hit. Delcash manages to sneak into the bushes by the river's edge. He jumps out and attacks, but they hear him and one parries his first blow. Right, yeah. So this is how I used to make notes. I just wanted to kind of show this because if you are at the start of your solo RPG journey, it's just to show that like you can do bullet point notes if you want to make notes, and it's fine. It doesn't matter. You don't have to write everything out like a novel, and you don't have to write things for an audience like a blog. Like I didn't put this on my blog once I started it, mainly because there was so much of it. Look at this. He finds a large cave with crates and sacks filled with goods used by the people of Greenbarrow. And actually there's one bit here near the start where my brother joined me for a co-op session. Yeah, Delcash asks Jagger. He randomly rolled his name and it was Jagger, I think. So I think we imagined him. Oh no, that wasn't his character. I think Jagger was the village elder. Maybe he just randomly had the name Jagger, and so obviously we imagined him as Mick Jagger. He asks Jagger if he knows anything about the warlord Nadira, and he says he's heard she's supporting a revolt in a settlement in the hinterlands called Mornwood to the northwest. Yeah, this is it. He sets off immediately and is joined by the mystic Flint as he passes his cabin. So Flint was my brother's character. And we teamed up and played it the co-op for a session, and that was really fun as well. So yeah, I want to go back to this actually. I've also got Starforged, the sci-fi game by Sean Tomkin, who did Ironsworn, and I don't have the physical book, I've got the PDF. And again, that's another game where I generated the world, I generated my character, I think, and then I never got past session 0 for some reason. I think possibly it was because at the same time I discovered Cepheus Deluxe, and I just love the crunchiness of it compared to the very sort of rules light. Well, I think it's rules light. Maybe not rules light, but non-crunchy rules of Ironsworn and Starforged. But yeah, anyway, what else is in here actually? There's some, hostile. This is the kind of thing I like to do. Hostile space combat test. So this is just where I made 2 spaceships in Hostile that we were talking about earlier, and then made them fight each other, just to kind of learn the combat rules. I'm sure a lot of people do that. Then what's that? Basic Fantasy Hex Crawl. That is on the blog as well. This starts off as like an OSR, Basic Fantasy RPG Hex Crawl, and I was doing it all in here. Then I started my blog, and I transferred it to the blog. Stilda endures the pain and slashes at the wolf, cutting its throat. Only 2 remain now. I realise now I forgot about morale again. We should have done a morale check for each wolf when the first one died, then when half had died, according to the rules. That sounds like me. Look, that's where I started my Starforged game, and then that was it basically. I never got past that beginning. But this started off as a sort of, I thought it was going to be quite short, like a channel update for what's on the horizon. That's what we can call it. What's on the solo RPG horizon? But then it sort of ballooned out into exploring my whole sort of solo RPG gaming life. Finally, if you've made it to the end of the video here, you must be a kind of hardcore fan to get through over an hour of what you just got through with no reward. With no reward at the end. But I wanted to kind of raise something, ask a question at the end of this video. Obviously, the channel is monetized now, which is great because I like money. I like being given money for especially for playing RPGs online and sharing that experience with all of you. And I feel like we've sort of built a little community over the last year, because it has been a year of the channel now. And I kind of wanted to gauge interest for if I made channel memberships an option on YouTube, would any of you sign up for one? Now, what it would be, right, is it would probably be like whatever number I say now, I'm stuck with, basically, and I have to stick to. So it would probably be $1 a month, because I wouldn't be offering anything extra for you. I don't have time to make extra content like members only videos. Maybe at some point, if I had some members ever, maybe I would. But I don't have time to make regular extra content and members only posts and things like that. Same with like if it was a Patreon, I wouldn't have time really to do members only Patreon blog posts and things in addition to everything else. But what I could do is make all videos available a day earlier to members. So if you would be willing to pay $1 a month, that sounds like nothing actually, because like it's not even £1, and yeah, maybe it should be $2. All right, it's going up. It's going up to $2. I've changed it already before I've even done it. But would you? This is my question to you. Answer in the comments below, and I might do a poll as well once I publish this video. Would you be willing to join a channel membership where it's not for the value of receiving the videos a day earlier than everyone else? It's really just to sort of support my efforts with the channel, because I don't really have any disposable income, to be honest, with raising a baby now. And so any money that anyone did use for channel memberships would go towards buying more RPG stuff for use on screen. It wouldn't just be taken away and spent on booze or anything like that. So let me know what you think about that. I'd like to do it, but I don't want to like make a big deal out of it and then no one signs up for it and it's just a joke. I would also put your names at the end of the video. I would make a new version of the outro animation, and it would incorporate everyone's names into it. And there would only be one level of support, which would be $2 a month. I wouldn't make a $5 or $10 tier, because they would all be the same. All you would get is 24-hour early access to the videos. And obviously, you would get special treatment in the comments. I would always be grateful to receive a comment on a video from a member, and I'd make sure I replied to it. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there at the end for the hardcore viewers who are sticking around to the end of this extremely rambling and long video. Other than that, that's all I wanted to do really. So I have loads of ideas actually for new videos. And I've made like a little list in my phone on the Notes app. I've got about 6 one-off videos that I want to make, not including, the usual Dungeon Crawl Classics series. I'd even like to make a new series for how to play blah, blah, blah game, not like I did with Scarlet Heroes, but something else. I'm not really sure what that will be yet. I've got a couple of candidates in mind, but I also don't want to make one that someone else has already done a really good series on. Like the reason I made the Scarlet Heroes series was because I was really impressed by the How to Play Traveller series by Seth Skorkowski, who is a really good YouTuber, RPG YouTuber. He doesn't talk about solo RPGs, but everything he talks about is really helpful for solo RPGs anyway. And he did this really long, really, really well edited and well planned out series on Traveller, which is I've watched, even though I don't play Mongoose Traveller 2nd Edition. It's just really well made and fun to watch. So that was what inspired me to make the Scarlet Heroes one. And yeah, I do want to do another series like that. And as I said, I have about 6 videos coming over the horizon for you over the next probably 3 months, I guess, being realistic about how long it takes me to make them. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video and hope you got something helpful out of it. And I will see you in the next one.